Hello and welcome to episode 5 of creating a Pokemon set idea called Dragon's Might. Welcome to the Garchomp Guide channel, and so far all we've been doing is creating this Pokemon set called Dragon's Might. Today's a special episode because to celebrate the 90 hours that I have in Pokemon Pokopia, I've created a Pokemon Pokopia based card set, like mini set. I'll start first. At 500 subscribers, I will open a Mega Evolution Elite Trainer box. If y'all want to support, I know that y'all can search up someone who can open 10 Elite Trainer boxes, but if you want to support a small creator, then subscribe, and I will keep my word. And I promise you that my videos will just be getting better and better as I personally improve and as I learn new skills. So subscribe to see this channel at its peak, and subscribe so that I waste my money. Alright, let's get into the first card. Ditto, the main character in Pokemon Pokopia. Ditto is going to be the main Pokemon for this mini set, which is also probably its own deck, a Ditto deck. So first, the supporter, Human Ditto. Search the deck for a Pokemon with the ability Poke Transform and put it onto your bench. If you do, then draw 4 cards. This Ditto is the only Pokemon with the ability Poke Transform. 60 HP, 1 retreat cost, fighting weakness. For 1 colorless energy, you splat for 10 and you draw a card. And then Poke Transform. You search a deck for A, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Scyther, Hitmonchan, Drillbur, Magikarp, Lapras, Zora, Paldean, Wooper, Macho, Graveler, Dragonite, Gyarados, or Magnemite. Mini Pokérap, you're welcome. You put the card you chose onto your bench. When you use this ability, discard Ditto, you can only use this ability once per game. So the reason why this is important is because every single Pokemon that you can get via Poke Transform has the ability Power of Friendship, like Squirtle here, where if a Pokemon with the ability Poke Transform, which only this Ditto has, is in your discard pile, which Poke Transform has you discard Ditto, this Pokemon's attacks do 80 more damage. So, let's get into this. Squirtle. All Squirtle's evolution line is Water type, and then Squirtle has 60 HP, 1 retreat cost, with the ability Power of Friendship. For 1 Water energy, Water Gun for 20, and it also does 10 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So basically, Squirtle can do 100 damage to the active and 10 damage to bench Pokemon. Water total, 90 HP, 1 retreat cost. For Water and Colorless, you Rapid Spin for 40, and you draw 2 cards. Blastoise, 140 HP, 3 retreat costs. For 2 Water and Colorless, you Double Cannon for 70, and you put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with 60 or more HP remaining. Bulbasaur. They're all grass types. And then Bulbasaur has 80 HP, 2 retreat costs with the ability Power of Friendship. If Pokemon with the ability, well, I already said what Power of Friendship does. And then for grass and colorless, Leaf Age for 30, and you heal 30 from one of your Pokemon. Ivysaur, 100 HP, 2 retreat costs. For grass colorless, raise the leaf for 60, and then you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Venusaur, 160 HP, 4 retreat costs for 3 grass and 1 colorless. Blooming Bomb for 180, and this Pokemon also deals 50 damage to itself. Scyther, 90 HP, 1 retreat cost, Power Friendship ability. For 1 colorless, you cut for 50. And then Scizor, 120 HP, 2 retreat costs. And then for Steel and Colorless, Steely Slash for 80. Hitmonchan, 110 HP, 2 retreat costs, Fighting type, with the ability Power of Friendship. And then for 1 Fighting Energy, you can Rock Smash for 30. However, if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Fighting type, this attack does 70 more damage. So Hitmonchan, when with Ditto in the discard pile and going against a Fighting type, Hitmonchan does 180 damage for 1 energy. Drillbur and Excadrill. They're both Fighting type Pokemon. Drillbur has 60 HP, no retreat cost, Power Friendship ability, and for Fighting Colorless, Rototailer, 40 damage, but during your next turn, all attacks made by your Fighting or Grass Pokemon do 40 more damage. So after 2 rototillers, Drillbur is doing 160 damage with a 1 rototiller. And then Excadrill, 100 HP, retreat cost of 1. Fighting colorless, you Mudslap for 60. And you put a fighting energy from your discard pile into your hand. Magikarp and Gyarados. So they're both water Pokemon. They both have the Power of Friendship ability. Magikarp has 40 HP, 1 retreat cost. For 1 colorless energy, you can jump for 10, and then you flip a coin if it had to prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from your opponent's active Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So basically, with Ditto in your discard pile and a heads on your coin flip, Magikarp can do 90 damage for 1 energy and prevent all damage done to it. Gyarados, 110 HP, 3 retreat. For 2 water and colorless, Waterfall for 110. However, if you discard an energy from Gyarados, you deal 50 more damage. So Gyarados can do, hold on, 110 plus 80 is 190. And then 190 plus 50 is 240 damage. Lapras, 110 HP, water type, 3 retreat cost, power friendship ability, and then for 2 water and 1 colorless, you surf for 80, and then you put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And then Zora and Zoroark. Zora has 80 HP. Well, they're both dark types. They both have 2 retreat costs. And the Zora has 80 HP, the ability Power Friendship. And then for water colorless, you can Camouflage for 50. And then your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks, 240 less damage to you, to the Zora. Or to all your Pokemon. Because, yeah. Zoroark, 130 HP for dark and colorless energy. You Illusion Slash for 80. Paldean and Wooper. I spelled Paldean wrong. Yippee. I think I did. Yeah, I did. I spelled Paldean wrong. So they're both dark types. Paldean and Wooper, 60 HP with the ability Power of Friendship, 2 retreat cost, and for 1 dark energy, you can suck up water. So it does 30 damage. However, if your opponent's active Pokemon is a water type, the attack does 40 more damage, and you discard all energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. And if you discard any energy in this way, you heal all damage from Paldean and Wooper. So I could imagine that in a deck that struggles against water Pokemon, they would probably run like 1 Paldean Wooper and no Ditto needed. It'll do 70 damage and it will discard all energy from your opponent's water Pokemon, which I think would be really good. So Paldean Wooper can work in a non-Ditto deck and a Ditto deck. And Paldean Clodsire, 160 HP, 3 retreat costs, 2 darkness, 1 colorless, poison jump for 90, flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Machoke. So the entire Machop line has is fighting type. And Machop, 78 HP, 1 retreat cost for 1 fighting energy, Karate Chop for 20. And Machoke has 90 HP, 1 retreat cost, Power Friendship ability, and for fighting in colorless, you can use strength, and does 70 damage for each card you discard from Machoke. And then Machamp, 150 HP, 2 retreat cost, 2 fighting, 1 colorless, close combat for 200, and then you put 5 damage counters on Machamp. Graveler. So the entire Geodude line is fighting type. Geodude itself is 70 HP, 2 retreat costs, and then for 1 fighting energy, Rock Tackle for 20. And then Graveler, 110 HP, 2 retreat costs, Power Friendship ability, and the fighting colorless rollout, 20 damage. However, during your next turn, rollout does 80 more damage. So with a max power rollout and Power of Friendship, it can do 200. Nope, I did math wrong. 180 damage, which is still a lot. Golem does 180 HP, 3 retreat cost, and for 2 fighting, 2 colorless, you can Berserk Charge for 190. And then Golem can't attack during your next turn. Dragonite. So they're all Dragon type. The entire Dratini line is Dragon type. So, and Dratini has 60 HP, retreat cost of 1, and then for 1 colorless energy, you can Wrap for 10, and then your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Dragonite, 100 HP, 1 retreat cost for 2 colorless, you can Tail Smack for 60, and Dragonite, 180 HP, 2 retreat costs, Power Friendship ability, and for 3 colorless energy, You can glide for 130, and until it's knocked out, it has a minus 30 resistance to fighting. The reason why, and then Dragonite, you can actually summon with Ditto's ability. And then Glide does Glide does 210 damage. And so what you could do is turn 2, you have Ditto, you use Ditto's ability, summon Dragonite, you discard Ditto, put Dragonite in the active, and then attach an Ignition Energy, since Dragonite is an evolution Pokemon. And then for turn 2, you can deal 210 damage. Crazy. So I imagine the Ditto deck would be like a mini Donk deck. We wouldn't do so good in the late game, but early game it'd be insane. Magnemite. So the entire Magnemite line is electric type. Magnemite has 50 HP, no retreat cost, power friendship ability. For one electric energy, Magnet Rise for 40. However, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks made by fighting Pokemon. So against fighting decks, they're screwed when Magnemite uses Magnet Rise. Unless you have Cornerstone Ogerpon, which my friend group calls Cobblestone Ogerpon. And so Cobblestone Ogerpon, her attack does 140 damage, however you ignore effects. So it would be able to one-shot Magnemite. However, Magneton, 90 HP, 2 retreat, and for 1 electric energy, triple shock, flip 3 coins, 30 for each heads. Mag Zone, 140, 4 retreat costs. And then for 1 lightning, 2 colorless, Magnet Launcher for 80. However, if your opponent's active Pokemon is the electric or steel type, then this attack does 50 more damage. Now you might be thinking, well, I want the Power of Friendship ability because it's such a good ability, but I want it on the fully evolved forms, because you can see that most of these are the base forms. Well, you're in luck, because trainer cards, Pokemon tool, Cloud Goggles. The Pokemon that this card is attached to has the same abilities and attacks as previous evolutions. So basically, this Magnet Zone has Magnet Launcher, with Cloud Goggles attached, has Magnet Launcher, Triple Shock, Magnet Rise, and Power of Friendship. So with Cloud Goggles attached and Ditto in your discard pile, Magnet Launcher, if you're going against an electric or steel Pokemon, does 210 damage. And it gets Magnet Rise. So if you're going against fighting Pokemon, then it just prevents the damage. And then Stadium, Withered Wastelands, put 2 damage counters on all grass and water Pokemon in between turns. Self-explanatory. And then the first ace spec of the series, Dowsing Machine. You may discard up to 3 cards from your hand. For each card you discard in this way, put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand. So the old Dowsing Machine, which was also an ace spec, did basically the same thing. But however, you discarded 2 to get 1 trainer. And while that might have been good then, it wouldn't really be the good now, because we currently have a lot of ways to get cards out of the discard pile. So the Dowsing Machine would allow you to discard 1 to 3 cards from your hand, and then you can find a trainer card for each card you discarded. And that is all the cards I've made for this episode. I know it's a big episode. Subscribe to watch me waste money. And if this video gets enough likes and enough support, I will create a part 2 where I create more Pokopia base cards. However, for now, stay tuned for episode 6 of the Dragon's Might series, and comment any cards that you want added. I know I didn't do a comment card in this episode. However, next episode, if I find a comment in this video that has a really good suggestion, I will give you a shout out. I will put you and your comment along with the card I've created for you in the next video. So y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.